This is Alan Green saying welcome to Old Trafford in Manchester. Welcome for the next Barclays Premier League instalment of our coverage here on 5 Live Sports Extra. Coming up in around about 10 minutes time, the first half commentary on Manchester United against Everton. Manchester United buoyant with the defeat of their great rivals Manchester City last night away to Southampton. That came out of the blue, so to speak, out of the sky blue. And it means that Manchester United go into this game leading the Barclays Premier League table by 9 points. And a win here, their game in hand, 12 points with 12 games to go. It might be said then that the title race is virtually over. There's certainly great anticipation around the stadium today that what happened here against Everton last season, last April, won't happen here today. Those of you who are aware of that may recall it was a 4-4 draw. United led 4-2 with less than 10 minutes to go, and somehow Everton conjured up 2 goals to take 2 points away from the prospective Manchester United total. And Graham Taylor, the former England manager, sitting alongside me. I know, Graham, that Sir Alex Ferguson felt that was pivotal in City going on to claim the title.
Absolutely right. And I'm sure, Alan, that Sir Alex would have reminded players that I can see him now, that is not going to happen again. And he will be very, very clear with the players. So I'm expecting to see a very good game today. I'm looking forward to it. Give Everton the credit, for where they are. They've got chances to get into the top 4. But this is a game I think that Manchester United realise that they really want to win to get that 12-point lead.
Well, there are a few distinguished visitors to Old Trafford this afternoon, as there always are, but they include the Real Madrid manager, Jose Mourinho, whose team, of course, faced Manchester United in the Champions League last 16 in the Bernabeu come Wednesday evening.
But that's what I like to see. I mean, it's very easy, for managers these days, if they wish to stay at home and then rely on their scouts reports. Watch the game on TV and rely on their scouts reports. There is nothing better. If you want to really know about the opposition, go and watch the live game. There is nothing better than live football. With all due respect to both radio and television, you're not going to see yourself what you want to see. So I respect him for being here. Somebody's told me it's the second time he's actually been. So I respect him for coming out and doing this, because he realises how important it is for his team to be properly prepared to play against Manchester United.
By the way, despite the importance of the football occasion today, it has another significance because it's just 4 days after the 55th anniversary of the Munich air disaster, and that's why you're hearing the music, relevant music in the background now. There's a certain poignancy around the stadium.
Oh, certainly. And when I say so, there should be. I think it is. I mean, from all of us, we all remember where we were. We all remember the things when it came over the radio. From a personal point of view, sat in the front room where we had our table, sitting around the dinner table, having some dinner, and there's the report. And it's something that I remember so vividly, and I think many people do themselves all these years on. The respect that must be shown to those people and families who lost their lives in the Munich air disaster.
That terrible day, of course, occurred off the back of a European Cup fixture for Manchester United, and that's what we're partly anticipating in this build-up to this Barclays Premier League game, the game in Madrid on Wednesday night. Now, Sir Alex occasionally is guilty, Graham, of telling the odd porky. And he certainly suggested quite vehemently in the build-up to this game that he'd pick an entirely different side to face Everton as he would for the game in Madrid.
He did.
Well, I'm afraid that's inconceivable,
but
given the lineup that he's got against Everton today. Let me run down the Manchester United team. The goalkeeper is De Gea. The defence is Rafael, Vidic, who's in for Ferdinand, Evans and Evra. Then in midfield, Valencia, Jones, who replaces Carrick, Cleverley and Giggs, who's in for Nani. And it's a very weak front two. Can't possibly expect to play in the Bernabeu. Rooney and Van Persie. I think at least 8 of those players will play against Real Madrid.
I think you're right. I think you're absolutely. The reason I'm sort of laughing about this, I mean, to be fair to Sir Alex, he's not the only manager that tells a few porkies.
No, of course not.
But he was very adamant about this, and of course, with it being such a big game, it has so much interest. This game against Real Madrid, one probably believed him. A lot of people probably believed him.
Yeah, I remember having a, let's say, a dreadful fallout with him back in the 80s when he told me what the team was likely to be for a game against Southampton on the Saturday. He was speaking at the Cliff, the former training ground, on the Friday, and of course it wasn't the team that appeared. And I remember before the commentary saying, in future I would rely on recognising the United crowds when they came out onto the pitch, as opposed to listening to any possible propaganda from the Manchester United manager's office. It took a long while to get over that.
I would imagine he took you to task for that.
In fact, we're still not talking, despite my admiration for the Manchester United manager. Now, I've given you the United 11. Here's the Everton team. Now, when we got the team news, it was only showing one change from the previous match. But they've also had to make a late alteration because Sylvain Distin is out ill. So Heitinga, who'd been dropped to the bench, actually plays now. So this is the Everton team. The goalkeeper is Hard. The defence is Neville, Heitinga, Jagielka and Baines. Then in midfield, Morales, Gibson, Osman and Pinar. Then Fellaini, about whom there was a fitness concern, but Fellaini plays just tucked in behind Anichebe. And by the way, just in commemoration of this 55th anniversary of the Munich air disaster, just four days ago, the exact date, there's a giant banner that's been unfurled at the West Stand end, the Stretford end of Old Trafford. It features portraits of the Busby Babes team, and underneath it says, "We'll never die." They'll never be forgotten.
It certainly won't. As I said, not just for Manchester United supporters. I remember it, hitting the whole country, quite rightly so as well. And there's many people who are not Manchester United supporters, but that particular period of time sticks in your memory.
Now, this late change, Distin dropping out because of illness and Heitinga playing. Heitinga, who had an absolute shocker against Aston Villa.
Well, I was just trying to think this may, without being disrespectful to Heitinga, I'm just thinking that might benefit Manchester United, particularly with Van Persie and Rooney, because Heitinga's not been having the best of times. He's certainly been a little bit short of the player of last season. So it'll be very interesting just to see how he does handle today's game and today's opponents.
Well, Everton have actually got a terrific record of late. Just 3 defeats in 34 league games since last March. Now, I know they've had 16 draws in that run, but they are an extremely difficult side to beat.
Well, David Moyes has always organised his sides, going right back to his Preston days. He's always organised his side extremely well, and I think he himself feels, that they're on the brink of being able to finish in the top 4, and that's why, there won't be a rollover for Manchester United. I'd be most surprised if they are. I don't think David Moyes ever puts a side out that rolls over, and so Manchester United will have to perform and get results. Having said that, I do fancy United, particularly following that Manchester City result at Southampton yesterday. I do fancy United to extend their points lead to 12 at the top of the Premier League.
Yeah, I was teasing about Sir Alex telling the odd porky, but I do wonder, thinking off the back of the City result last night, if he maybe got up this morning and said, well, something, I'm going to pick a team to win this game first and foremost. Yeah. And then, if they get into a couple of goals lead against Everton, then he can take a few throws off.
Then, yeah. I think this is a game where this is the chance where, you really sort of put everything in and say, hey, hold on a minute, we can go from 9 to 12 points. What am I playing in a second team for? Let's play the boys, let's get the result, and then we'll think about Real Madrid on Wednesday.
Yep. So Everton, remember, beat Manchester United in their opening game of this season. It was a goal scored by Fellaini at Goodison Park. Fellaini plays today. He missed the Belgian international in midweek, but he's such a huge nuisance in terms of any opposition.
Definitely, yeah. It's his presence is always there, isn't it?
The referee today is Mark Halsey. Everton will kick off. Playing from right to left. They're playing towards the West Stand here at Old Trafford. That's the old Stretford end. Fellaini and Osman standing over the ball at the moment. Osman, who's been around longer than any other member of this Everton side, now 31 years of age, and it's great to see him on the international scene. So Everton, who are 6th in the Barclays Premier League, kick off against the team leading the way, 9 points clear Manchester United, ahead of Manchester City, whose coach last night, Roberto Mancini, being asked about the prospects of regaining the title, he said 10% chance. That's not a lot. Here's Jones, who's playing in midfield for Manchester United. Back to Evans. Evans onto Rafael on the near side of the field. Be interesting if the Brazilian features on Wednesday night against Madrid. Him against Ronaldo, doesn't bear thinking about. He wins a throw-in though and takes it himself. Goes to Van Persie. Back to Rooney, who's tackled by Fellaini. Van Persie takes it up again, just outside the Everton penalty area. Wide to the right and Valencia. Valencia's cross is deep, too deep for Ryan Giggs, the veteran, and Giggs has to chase to keep it in play on the far side of the field. He does so brilliantly. Getting it back to Evra, onto Cleverley. Giggs again, low cross drilled into the penalty area. Cleared by Everton, but they're under pressure once more. Cleverley picks it up. Cleverley has become almost an ever-present for England under England coach Roy Hodgson now. Into Rooney. Rooney, well, I thought that was just a slip. But the referee, Mark Halsey, was only a few feet away, and he gives a free kick.
Yeah, his presence was there. He has the view of it, and he's given what could turn out to be a very dangerous free kick.
It's only 3 or 4 paces from the edge of the Everton penalty area, slightly to the left. Mark Halsey striding out 10 paces to make sure the 2-man wall is far enough back. The condition of this Manchester United pitch actually isn't clever. It can't suit a team of United's ability, but that's an issue for maybe a pause and play later. It's going to be taken, the free kick, by Rooney. Whipped in towards the near post and punched up and away by Hard just outside the penalty area. Collected by Valencia. Everton have got everybody back. Valencia back to Cleverley. Cleverley sweeps across in. Here comes Hard again. Less convincing on this occasion, but he got enough on it to push the ball out of the penalty area. Back it goes towards the Everton goal though once more. Then Rooney takes us off the ball. It ran underneath his feet. And here's another England international, Leighton Baines, who sweeps it down the left side towards Morales. Morales, oh, well, he was aggressively in there on Rafael. I don't think Mark Halsey saw that.
No. Leighton Baines is going through a superb period of form. He's very much in form. So much that Roy Hodgson, brought him on at half-time when Ashley Cole was actually celebrating his 100th cap. That surprised me a little bit. I thought he might let Ashley see that out, but on the other hand, Baines has well deserved an opportunity.
Absolutely. The other piece of nonsense at Wembley on Wednesday night was the fact that Baines figured on the front page of the programme when Cole was always likely to win his 100th cap. Anyway, here's the errant Heitinga, fortunate to be in the starting 11 today, and that's a wasteful pass upfield from him, overhit, and it runs through to De Gea. Old Trafford is packed, as it usually is these days. Mourinho actually took his seat in the director's box a good 30 minutes before kickoff, and I was trying to figure out why. Could he possibly have been seeking attention?
No, he doesn't. He's a quiet man.
He's a quiet man. Just wanted to sign a few thousand autographs and get caught on picture in the camera phones. Here's Rooney, the centre of the Everton half, playing the ball to the left side at Evra. Back to Cleverley. Cleverley has Jones to his right, and he's looking that way, and he plays it to Phil Jones. Jones, who missed international duty in midweek through illness. Rafael to Rooney. Rooney shoots right-footed, always swirling wide, and it's a goal kick for Everton.
It's a reasonable start to the game. I think, whenever Everton get a chance to get the ball, they look to go forward as well. And if you have both teams looking to do that when they're in the possession of the ball, the chances are we'll see a good game.
Goal kick taken by Hart. 4 minutes gone here on 5 Live Sports Extra. Manchester United 0, Everton 0. Rooney, a former Everton player, of course. A nice little cushioned header to Valencia. Valencia tries to find Jones. It hits an Everton player, and it's now in Everton's possession, with Phil Neville, a former Manchester United defender, playing right back for Everton today. A lot of the time he features in midfield for his club. Good ball forward, taken on the chest by Fellaini, and now collected by Pinar. Pinar feeds it to the right, and There's the cross into the penalty area. It hit a defender and it's gone behind for the first corner of the game to Everton.
And this is where Everton can cause threats. They certainly, during the period of time, on restarts, on corners, free kicks, they have scored some goals.
Baines is going to go across to the right side to take this corner for Everton. Clearly he's going to deliver it left-footed. He's such excellent delivery at free kicks, Leighton Baines, and at other set pieces such as this. This is in front of the Stratford end at Old Trafford. A little over 5 minutes gone. 0-0. Baines, left-footed. Deep cross towards the far post, headed away well by Vidic. Baines again. This time the angle's better. No one's really attacking him. He plays it into Pienaar. Pienaar shoots it goal. Hits Evans and rebounds out of the penalty area. Osman collects it. Then he's tackled by Giggs. Giggs plays it forward. Valencia's half a mile offside. Very poor from Valencia, and it's a free kick inevitably to Everton.
Some very good defending there by Manchester United. Their players getting in the way of 3 shots by Everton players, blocking them down, being strong enough and brave enough to put themselves in the line of the ball. And then they looked as if they were going to get a breakaway. Valencia must have been caught, 10 yards offside.
Interesting that Pienaar's playing down the right side for Everton and
yes.
Morales down the left, when we would have expected them to adopt the other flanks. Anyway, here's Fellaini. Fellaini spins away from Jones. Finds Anichebe. Anichebe's first touch was poor. And now Giggs has it for United. Back it goes to Evans. Evans gives the ball away. If there is a doubt about Wednesday night in Madrid, well, there'll be many doubts. But United's defence, not quite as secure as perhaps it needs to be. Certainly not in the Champions League. But that was a good tackle by Vidic on Anichebe. Anichebe's sitting on his backside inside the United penalty area. Meantime, play continues. The ball's up in the halfway line with Rooney. Now to Cleverley. Back to Evra. And Evra now finds Johnny Evans. Evans onto Raphael. Perhaps those two will not figure on Wednesday night. But I reckon at least 8 of this Manchester United starting 11 will start the game against Real Madrid. Giggs looking to find Rooney. It's intercepted by Jagielka and should be cleared on the far side of the field by Phil Neville, up towards the halfway line. Chested down by Evra. He ran into Pienaar and then too aggressively tried to win the ball back, and it's a free kick to Everton as a result.
I'm just wondering about Pienaar there, up against Evra, left-footed Pienaar, just pull it back, get your cross in, because Evra being very left-sided as well, and I'm just thinking, don't take him on, just pull it back onto your left foot and get your cross in. I wonder if that's the reason that he's playing over that side.
Here's Gibson, a former Manchester United player, finding Osman, and now Fellaini. Back to Gibson again. He's got Neville available on the far side, down the Everton right, inside the United half. Neville back to Gibson. Neville once more, and now it's with Jagielka to Heitinger. Baines is up and across the halfway line, down this near touch line, the Everton left in the first half. United started brightly, but Everton have settled down. Good ball forward to Anichebe, taken on his chest. Back to Morales, back to Anichebe, but again he takes his eye off the ball, allows it to run under his right foot into United's possession. And it's with Giggs, rampaging down the left flank as of old. Commits a second defender into a tackle, and outside of play for a throw-in to Manchester United. Midway inside the Everton half. Manchester United 0, Everton 0. You're listening to 5 Live Sports Extra on the BBC. The throw-in goes to Phil Jones. And now Raphael. Moving infield. Plays it back to Cleverley. Cleverley to Evra. Only Anichebe's forward for Everton. He's just over the halfway line. At this point, we're joined by listeners to the BBC World Service. Welcome to our coverage here in 5 Live Sports Extra. We've had 9 minutes of the game. Manchester United 0, Everton 0, and not a clear chance so far, Graham.
No, both sides moving the ball about well, making sure there's a pace on their passing as well. But as yet, they haven't really got through to get any threatening shots at the keepers.
De Gea, just outside his penalty area, clears it beautifully towards the right side. Well controlled by Raphael. That's good work between goalkeeper and full-back. Rooney on to Van Persie onside, round the goalkeeper. Oh, he hits the outside of the post. That's a bad miss from Van Persie. There was nobody defending the goal. How did he miss? Well,
we all know his left foot is better than his right, but even then, it was a rolling really, and he sort of scuffed it, got it up into the air and hit the near post. You just couldn't believe it.
I was expecting that to be 1-0 to Manchester United.
I mean, if you'd asked him to do that, he wouldn't have been able to do it.
Van Persie takes the corner left-footed, and it swirls into the air and straight into the grateful arms of Tim Hard. If Gareth Barry had been there, he would definitely have found the net. Can you believe that on goal last night?
Well,
astounding on goal by Manchester City's Gareth Barry at Southampton. In fact, you could argue that City gave Southampton all 3 of their goals, though the Saints could have scored 6 in total. It was they were that much better than the champions.
Yeah. Well, one has to say, and it was a very poor performance by Manchester City. I have to say that some of the players didn't look as if their heart was really in it.
Here at Old Trafford, 10 minutes played, Manchester United 0, Everton 0 on the World Service and 5 Live Sports Extra. Fellaini for Everton. Back to Osman. Osman then gives the ball away to Jones. Jones to Rooney, cleverly, and back to Raphael. Giggs has come in from the left flank. It's going towards that side of the field. It's met by Evra. Evra finds Rooney. Giggs, Rooney again, but that football was a little bit too intricate, and it's partially cleared by Everton, and finally the ball makes its way back to the United penalty area and De Gea. Do you still have doubts about De Gea as a long-term goalkeeper at United?
I have to say they're not completely cleared my doubts yet, but obviously the longer he stays in, the more he plays, and the better it is for him, but there still is 1 or 2 doubts for me.
Absolutely. Here's Jones for United. Into Giggs. The return pass from Giggs wasn't the best. Everton pick up possession again. Baines, who gives it away to Jones, and then Jones is surely fouled there by Morales. He was, and Mark Halsey had no option but to give the free kick to United. United 9 points clear of Manchester City at the start of this game, and even though Everton represent difficult opposition, you'd think here, momentum behind them, that gap could be 12 points in the next hour and a half. And with 12 games to go, heck of a difficult task for Manchester City to claw their way back into the race. United have this free kick. It's 6 yards in from the right touchline, midway inside the Everton half, taken by Van Persie, swirled in low, wasn't well hit by the Dutchman, a bit like a shot that careered off the outside of the near post when he really should have put Manchester United a goal up. The ball is back with Raphael inside the United half, and Raphael chips it down the right flank towards Valencia. Valencia rises well, heads it on into Van Persie. Van Persie gets to the ball, back to Giggs. Giggs shoots, hits the inside of the post and into the net. Well, Everton's defence went walkabout, absolutely walkabout, and Manchester United, who should have been in front about 5 minutes ago, take the lead in the 13th minute through the veteran Ryan Giggs. Manchester United 1, Everton 0.
Well, Van Persie goes some way to making up for his horrible miss only a few minutes ago. He stepped inside there, kept control of the ball, went onto his left foot. I was expecting him to shoot, but no, he just rolled it gently across to Ryan Giggs, and Giggs himself got the shot and then had the look of the ball hitting the post and going into the net.
But the Everton defence was dreadful, absolutely dreadful. Heitinga and Jagielka were nowhere. Neville had to come across, and yet he was leaving a United player free. It was a catalogue of errors from Everton, and rightly punished by Ryan Giggs' goal. Manchester United 1, Everton 0. And arguably, this is United's trickiest game until they have the Manchester derby in April. Mike Ingham, who will be taking over commentary in the midway point in the first half, said that goal from Giggs means that he's now scored in every season in the Premier League era. Which is some record, isn't it?
Certainly is, yeah.
Whatever his age, that's brilliant.
Oh, first class.
Absolutely brilliant. And you think about, Frank Lampard being probably discarded by Chelsea. Giggs and Scholes here at Old Trafford, they've been kept on 1-year contracts if they want them, and they're still delivering when required.
Certainly.
Quarter of an hour played here at Old Trafford. Manchester United take the lead. Van Persie setting up Giggs. when earlier Van Persie should have scored himself. Heitinga takes the free kick, right-footed high towards Anichebe, headed away by the United skipper Vidic, and here's the goal scorer Giggs. Giggs running towards the left side, going to be caught in possession here if he's not careful. Well, he's being hustled and he loses the ball. Ball played into the United penalty area, but it finds a red shirt, Phil Jones, and Jones puts it out of play on the far side of the field. By the way, Pinar and Morales have switched flanks again.
They have, yes.
Morales is now down the right, Pinar down the left, which is more his natural area. Was that a foul throw?
A foul throw.
Find the player.
He didn't mean it. He didn't mean it.
Phil Neville's a great pro, but he should be fined for that.
Yeah. I think as he's throwing it, look, as he throws it, it slips out of his hand, you see.
Yeah, the ball sort of slipped from his grasp. Yeah. Anyway, Everton have got the ball back. 16 minutes played. You're listening to the World Service and 5 Live Sports Extra on the BBC. And Manchester United, I think we can almost say champions-elect now, lead Everton by a goal to nil. Jagielka drives the ball forward for Everton. It's headed away by Valencia to Rafael, who knocks it out of play, and it will be an Everton throw in level with the front edge of the Manchester United penalty area. Leighton Baines to take it. He's only got Pinar nearby, but Fellaini makes a late run. He throws it to the Belgian. Back it goes to Osman, on to Pinar, the South African. Pinar can't control the ball, and it's now with Wayne Rooney, who's been tackled by Osman, and well, Mark Halsey was close by there. It looked to me as if Wayne Rooney had fouled an Everton player, but he got away with it. Well, Osman's complaining to Mark Halsey, and I don't blame him, frankly. Anyway, Everton have the ball again. Neville on the far side of the field. In now to Gibson, on to Osman, and now Heitinga to Pinar. Heitinga once more. Jagielka to the right side, and Phil Neville, who's just a foot or so inside the United half, and then plays the ball back into the Everton half. 17 minutes gone. Manchester United lead Everton by a goal to nil. Osman in the central midfield position to Heitinga, on to Pinar. Heitinga again. Lots of Everton passes, but they're going absolutely nowhere.
No, it's all just maintaining position.
That's a better one, more incisive. To Osman. Osman on towards Anichebe. Anichebe stretched. Couldn't get to the ball. Has he hurt himself? Oh, no. Just the way he fell.
Yeah.
He's okay. And the ball's back with De Gea.
Yeah. Having a lot of possession, as you say, Everton there, but going nowhere with it. A lot of it between the centre-backs, which we see more and more in today's football.
It's a grey, cold afternoon here in Manchester. It was raining earlier. It's stopped now, but there is a promise from the weatherman of some snow later in the northwest of England. Hold off on that until about 8 o'clock till I get home, please. Ball's out of play. It's going to be a throw into Everton on this near side of the field. Seen a lot of David Moyes, the Everton manager, in the technical area. Nothing of Sir Alex Ferguson. He's not required. His team's leading 1-0. The throw-in goes to Fellaini. Back to Pinar. Pinar's pass to Baines was under hit. Rooney intercepts. Rooney forward to Van Persie. Across comes Phil Jagielka, and Jagielka plays it off Van Persie. It's out of play for a throw-in to Everton.
I think everybody would agree, Alan, that Van Persie has been absolutely superb signing, hasn't he?
Yes, absolutely.
It just gives them even that little bit more than they had.
22 goals. It's a shabby total, isn't it? You know, barely 2/3 of the way through the season. That's excellent. He was expensive, but he's very, very good. Everton, who only wish they had the money to buy the likes of a Van Persie, or even a player of a fifth of that value, but haven't got the money at Everton, despite the great heritage of this Merseyside club. They're still looking for ownership that will help them move further forward. They always keep punching above their weight anyway. Nevertheless, they trail here at Old Trafford 1-0. Here's Rooney, the ex-Evertonian, on to Valencia. Valencia back to Phil Jones. Jones left-footed shot, high and wide.
Yeah, his first touch really didn't set it up very well for him, and he decided still to go through with the shot. Never really got the accuracy that he was looking for, and well wide.
Mourinho might be a little bit surprised, sitting in the director's box to our left, that Sir Alex has gone with a relatively strong team today.
I think he'll be quite pleased, to tell you the truth. You know, if he feels that the majority of these players will play again on Wednesday night against his side, then it's well worth him coming.
Yeah, I would think the only doubts in terms of starters in Madrid of this 11 would be Raphael, Evans and perhaps Giggs.
Yeah.
But Giggs might play anyway if Sir Alex goes with a 5 across midfield in the Bernabeu. That remains to be seen. You're listening to 5 Live Sports Extra in the World Service on the BBC. Manchester United 1, Everton 0. Jagielka, who has been featuring at right back of late, but he's in the centre of defence for Everton today. To Heitinga. Heitinga's pass upfield, again slightly overhit, and Anichebe slightly isolated, and it's cleared out of play by Vidic. It's going to be a throw-in to Everton, midway inside the Manchester United half. Near touchline, that's the Everton left in the first half. Baines throws it to Fellaini. Fellaini doesn't get it back to Baines, but then it's collected though by Osman. Osman slides it forward, and each of you inside the United penalty plays it behind Morales. Morales has got Neville to his right. It's played to Neville. Neville slightly overhit the ball in the first attempt, but still gets the cross into the penalty area. Headed away by Manchester United. Morales on the far side of the field. He declines the cross, but he wins a corner.
A little bit of pressure from Everton. I mean, I think they've been the second best. It started off this game a little bit equal, both sides looking, and then when Manchester United took the lead, they've really dominated from there, and Everton are now just coming back from conceding that goal.
You can see one of the reasons why Phil Jones was picked today, because to a large degree he's man-marking Fellaini.
Definitely.
Corner to Everton. From the right, Baines takes it left-footed, and De Gea was absolutely nowhere. It was headed away by Vidic. De Gea came, didn't get anything near the ball. Then another cross into the United penalty area was overhit, and it's out of play for a throw into Manchester United.
He was very fortunate there, the goalkeeper. He got looked after, didn't he?
All sorts of rumours about who Manchester United are thinking of in terms of future goalkeepers. The Stoke City goalkeeper is on the agenda, it seems, but De Gea, though he's improved, still doesn't entirely convince. Manchester United, though, lead Everton by a 1-0. Goal scored by Ryan Giggs. The ball played forward towards Valencia. Jagielka had a yard start on Valencia, gets in the tackle, puts the ball out of play for a throw-in. We're at the midway point of the first half. Time for change in the commentary team, and to take over it will be Mike Ingham.
Thank you, Alan. If you haven't been with us from the start, Everton had to reorganise things just before the kick-off, which is never a good thing from a team's point of view, particularly as initially Heitinga had been dropped from the side. He didn't have a very good game against Benteke Villa last week, so he was left out of the team, but then recalled when Distin went down with illness. So he's partnering Jagielka, and he was also exposed when Manchester United scored through Giggs after 14 minutes. So it's 1-0 to the home side, and it's a corner kick to be taken by Robin Van Persie. Van Persie's corner, big, deep one, looking for Giggs. Giggs jumps but doesn't get ahead on it, and the ball breaks to the far side of the field.
I was just looking at that corner there, Mike, and counting the number of players in the 6-yard area. And there are actually 10 players, including the goalkeeper, all in there. It's very, very difficult sometimes for a goalkeeper to move about and to get with that number of players round about him.
Am I right in thinking that somebody like Mourinho, and you'll have been in this position many times, coming to this game, will be really extra interested when United are taking free kicks and when they're defending free kicks?
Definitely.
Because
definitely.
Rather than the open play, maybe those sorts of restarts and the way they set up. Let's just break off now as Everton move down the far side. Morales by the corner flag. Morales cutting inside against Patrice Evra. Plays the ball back to Phil Neville. Neville's little dink ball towards Fellaini in the penalty area. Manchester United have to defend here. In the end, it's an easy one for De Gea to pick up.
Yeah, I think, when you do go there, yes, you'll look at the formation of the team, look at the play, look at where the dangerous parts are, but obviously you take note very much so of their restarts, what their plan, how they go about it, and obviously defensively as well, whether you can actually create some problems for them from their defensive setup.
Manchester United 1, Everton 0. Pienaar is now playing on the left. We thought he would play from the start. Morales, the Belgian, over on the right-hand side. And Everton yet to really test De Gea in the United goal. Stretford end away to our left. Fellaini on the halfway line, being pushed back by Jones, and in the end pushed too much by Jones, and Mark Halsey gives Everton the free kick. Just on the halfway line. Be interesting to see who plays at right back in the Bernabeu. Essentially, of course, possibly against Ronaldo, because Raphael has had a much improved season, and Sir Alex has played him in virtually every game, but Jones may be a little more robust. Valencia will certainly have to help out on the right, and here comes a free kick for Everton. It'll be headed away by Jones. Gets it good distance towards the former Manchester United player Gibson. There are 3 former United players in this Everton team, and here's another one now. Phil Neville, his 300th Everton game today. Neville, left-footed ball towards Anichbe, another very improved player. He tumbles over under Vidic's challenge, looks for well, it was inside the area, so he's looking for a penalty, but it's not given from Mark Halsey. Good header back by Jagielka. So Manchester United still on a handball against Pienaar. Free kick to Manchester United. Graham Taylor.
I thought that was a very good decision by Mark Halsey. The number of times big centre forwards lean in, look for a free kick, not really looking to win the ball, and then the defender has to win the ball, and Mark Halsey gave himself a very good look at that, and was a good decision not to give anything.
Valencia and Baines just for once doesn't cut that out, and Rafael was almost through. The ball is still inside the Everton half, up in the air. Fellaini reaches for it, tries to pick out Morales. It's very tight for Everton on the break, but Pienaar's got it. Jones going in with Pienaar, and between them Evra and Jones make sure that Everton aren't going to go any further. That was the professional free kick given away, if ever there was one, and Everton's ball 15 yards inside the United half.
Mark Halsey once again up with play. You know, when you say the professional way, I agree with you, but I think they should be yellow cards.
Pienaar now following the free kick, finding the tall Fellaini on the Everton left. Baines in an advanced position, working a position, but Rafael's there scrambling well, the right back, and it's a free kick to Manchester United. So you're listening to 5 Live Sports Extra and BBC World Service, and don't forget tonight, especially on the World Service, there'll be commentary on the African Cup of Nations final. Couldn't have forecast. I think Nigeria, yes, you might have thought would have a chance, but Burkina Faso are in the final, and you can hear that this evening on World Service. It's a big night for them in South Africa. Free kick to Manchester United, taken by De Gea. Valencia jumping with Baines. Goal coming from Giggs after 14 minutes of the match. Everton trying to play their way back into the game. As we've been saying, a very difficult team to beat, Everton. Only 3 defeats all season. Now Jagielka playing in his more accustomed position, central defence. And now Neville over on the far side. This is the Everton right. Back again to Jagielka. Everton's and Anichbe waiting patiently for the ball, but it's still with Heitinga, the Dutchman. Heitinga now. Not a lot on for him here, and gives it back once more to Jagielka. Jagielka across the field to Neville. Everton building, and Neville now. Gibson offers himself and he gets it. Darren Gibson of Everton. It's all a little bit slow here though. David Moyes coming out. They're not working Manchester United at all here. It's very easy at the moment for United. Now it's played towards Baines, who touches the ball off to Osman. United are pressing well though, pushing Everton back all the time, back inside their own half. And now Fellaini. And Fellaini finds Neville over. They start all over again where they began. Now Gibson. Can Everton move from here? Gibson looking to release Morales. Cut out by Evra. And Manchester United now looking to counter-attack at home. With Giggs the goal scorer. Loops the ball into Van Persie. Cushioned header down for Rooney. Rooney looks to see Valencia's there, and he played it quickly, and Valencia wasn't there. Baines cuts it out. Everton give it back to Tim Howard.
Very interesting watching Jones following Fellaini about all of the time. You know, Fellaini dropping off, and Jones has been given the responsibility of picking him up.
Anichbe chested off to Pienaar. Pienaar linking with Osman. Danger here, perhaps. Osman shot! Turned away by De Gea. First save he's had to make. And it was a regulation save, really, for a goalkeeper. Made it look good, and it's turned away for an Everton corner.
Yes, he saw it there. He saw it for plenty of time, could get his dive right, could get the hands behind it, did it, conceded the corner.
So it's the usual Everton scenario down the right. Baines takes the corners with his left foot. Fellaini usually towers above everybody. Allen's right. I'm sure Jones has been selected today to do a marking job on Fellaini from the corners. Here comes plenty of height from Baines. Fellaini's header down, hasn't been cleared yet. Shot was driven in by Morales. Somehow Manchester United keep it out. There's another chance for Everton though. Gibson on the edge of the area. Shot is charged down by Van Persie. Good spell from Everton at the moment, but they're 1-0 down here. Manchester United looking to get out of their own half. Everton's challengers coming in. That was Osman winning the ball for them. Everton and their Everton fans respond as well, because the moment they're just examining Manchester United. United are trapped inside their own half. It's an Everton throw.
A little bit more pressure now by Everton. sustaining it as well.
The Real Madrid manager Jose Mourinho, who's here for the second time since the draw paired the two sides together in the last 16, just sits away to our left, making notes and watching and wondering whether Everton are going to get back in this game. Gibson now down the centre, easy one for Vidic to clear, and Cleverley now makes Van Persie scramble. It wasn't a good ball from Cleverley, and Everton have it once more with Pinar inside the centre circle. Pinar being followed by Rafael, still finds Morales down the right-hand side. A lot of Everton possession just at the moment. Little quick feet between Pinar and Morales. Now Neville into Fellaini, pops up everywhere. Fellaini tries to knock the ball down the line. Good spin from Morales, and Nietzsche's in the penalty area. Morales up against Tom Cleverley, can't get round him, and Manchester United looking to clear in the left back position, and now a little bit of space for Giggs. Giggs goes forward, releases the ball through the referee's legs for Rooney, and now Jones finding Valencia in front of David Moyes down this near side. Valencia looks up, tries to play the ball over the defenders towards Rooney. Good header back by Jagielka to his goalkeeper.
Good play by Manchester United. They came out from a very tight position in the left back area and were able, with good passing, good movement, to finish off in the Everton penalty box.
David Moyes urging his team forward, and the fact that they've been behind since the 14th minute forces them now to come forward to take the game to Manchester United. Anichebe turning inside the penalty area, forced wide by the United defender Vidic. Still Anichebe. And Everton's problem, of course, will always be here as they do go forward adventurously, trying to equalise, not to be careful not to allow United through on the counter-attack.
Yeah, certainly. They've pushed on Everton, and give them credit, from going at 1 goal down. They've looked more purposeful now.
David De Gea with a clearance. So you're listening to 5 Live Sports Extra and BBC World Service on a wintry day at Old Trafford. Manchester United 1, Everton 0. One of United's hardest games left, certainly in the run-in, because very few teams beat Everton. Jones sweeps the ball forward, and that's offside against Robin Van Persie, and he misses the target as well. And it's a free kick to Everton and to Tim Howard. Everton, of course, with an outside chance. I think it's no more than that, really, perhaps, of a place in the top 4, Champions League qualification. And it's Phil Jagielka now bringing the ball towards the halfway line. Hits it from right to left, looking for the tall Fellaini. He's always the outball Fellaini. Fellaini up against Rafael, and somehow Fellaini manages to win the ball when it comes down on the ground. Osman into Fellaini, back again to Osman. Osman inaccurately though towards Pinar, and United clear. Giggs it was, but he's knocked it straight back to Jagielka. Now Everton building down the right hand side with Phil Neville. Phil Neville, who's played so many times here in the red shirt, of course. Everton, lovely turn from Pinar. He was fouled, taken out by Giggs, I think. Was it Giggs?
Looked like,
and it's
Giggs,
it's a free
sure
kick,
right.
And this is a dangerous position here. This is Leighton Baines, of course, often at his very best, going across, and he'll certainly be involved in this free kick. Another yellow card, maybe, that should have been.
Well, I thought so as well, and Giggs was very careless there as he came in.
75,525, including Mr. Mourinho, watch on at Old Trafford, and this could be a significant moment in the first half. Manchester United lead 1-0, but Gibson and Baines are over the ball. Gibson very much once part of the scene here, and Baines, De Gea guards his left-hand post. Where's Mr. Fellaini? Fellaini's over on the far side at the moment. He'll obviously, if this free kick is planted, run in with it. Now Gibson and Baines together. Jose Mourinho, these are the situations he's particularly now noting. Free kicks against the side he'll be playing on Wednesday. And the free kick is taken by Gibson, and Manchester United just about deal with it. It's out of the area, and then a thumped ball downfield from Jones towards Valencia, who's clattered by, and that's poor play by Heitinga, really, because Everton are pressing well, then Heitinga gives away a stupid free kick.
You've just got to go and get tight with him. You can't get the ball. What's the point of running through the fella? Giving him the free kick takes off all the pressure you have on your opponent. It is a careless and silly tackle.
10 minutes to go in the first half. At the moment, although there's a long, long way to go yet, at the moment Manchester United are heading for a 12-point lead with 12 games to go. They lead 1-0 here. Everton have been much better in the last 10 minutes. Van Persie off the chest to Jones, inside the centre circle, and now Giggs, who's in the centre, looking to release Evra on the far side. Good first touch from the Frenchman as usual. Evra, though, hits it straight at Neville, and now Manchester United have to get back behind the ball once more. Gibson back to Jagielka. Jagielka changes feet and then finds Neville, and Neville squirts the ball infield to Gibson. Good close control here from Everton. Neville now looking for Morales. Evra gets it away, and Manchester United try and power forward through Jones, but it's Everton now dangerously on the counter-attack. Fellaini into Morales, and Ichibi's in the penalty area. Ball comes in towards Ichibi. Manchester United scrape it away, and Ichibi was trying to turn there with the defender and just couldn't get round him, and United desperately clear.
Was it Raphael that got the clearance in?
It could well have been.
Yeah, it was very, very good.
And he, I wasn't his biggest fan as a defender when he first came into the United side, but he's turning in more consistent performances now. But it'll be a big selection, whoever plays at right back in Madrid on Wednesday night. Fellaini following the throw-in, 1-0 to Manchester United. Back again to Baines, who very much has his admirers here at Manchester United. Baines, Pienaar now, much more influential. Everton having good spells here. It should be cleared though now by Manchester United's Evans, and he hits it long back into the Everton half. Jagielka for Heitinga. 1-0 to Manchester United, but just at the moment, Graham, Everton perhaps on top.
Yes, I think Everton have done well. I think when they sustain their pressure, that's when they look their most dangerous, instead of just having the attack in isolation. And they've done very well, kept possession of the ball and threatened Manchester United. Not had as many shots as I would have liked, though.
But David Moyes will be hoping there's something at the end of it to reward this spell, because there hasn't been anything yet. Manchester United 1, Everton 0. Giggs got us a poor ball out of defence from Manchester United. Straight back to the opposition, and then Jagielka just manages to get enough foot on the ball with the back pass to Howard, who hasn't had to do very much in the last 15 minutes. Poor clearance from him, though, the American, and Manchester United now have possession over on the left-hand side. 1-0 into the last 10 minutes of the first half. Vidic, who we suspect will be partnered logically by Ferdinand on Wednesday night in the Bernabeu, and now it's Patrice Evra of Manchester United. Into Rooney, he's been quite quiet just lately. Back again to Evra. Slow build-up from Manchester United. Van Persie makes his move into the penalty area. The ball is over on the left. Cleverly, he's been fouled by Morales. That ought to be a yellow card, I think.
It's going to
be from Mark Olsen.
A few yellow cards. I think as the game has progressed, we might agree or disagree with it, but I just cannot see why players launch themselves off the ground, both feet in the air, and then even if they get the ball, expect not to get a yellow card. I just can't understand that now.
No, I always feel a little bit sorry though when Mark Olsen is obviously letting the game, giving the game a chance, and then it's like a totting up process, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then finally his patience runs out after 37, and Morales just happen to be the first person. Could have been one or two others though as well before then. Anyway, United free kick, Giggs and Rooney over the ball. 1-0 they lead. They've just come through quite a dodgy spell against Everton. Wouldn't it be just typical of United though if they were to score a second before half time here? Here comes the free kick for Manchester United, but it's away by Gibson on the volley to the far side for a Manchester United throw-in. Howard, the goalkeeper, claps his hands, and Rooney retrieves the ball. Throw to Manchester United. Hasn't been in the game that much early on here, Rooney. Drops the ball down for Evra. Manchester United taking their time. And here comes the throw. Just about a legal one from Evra. Evra nudges his way towards the corner flag. And Everton will now clear. Anichebe, the centre forward, is back in the right back position. Everton have made a mess of that clearance. Rooney to Cleverly. Cleverly skims the ball to Van Persie. Van Persie used his hand. Did he to control that? Yes. And the free kick is given to Everton.
Van Persie appealing to Mark Halsey, about the decision, but no point, it's been given and you've got to get on with it.
It's a very understated referee, Mark Halsey. You don't see too much of him, which is always a good sign of a referee, allowing the game as much as possible here within reason to flow. But Morales got a yellow card, and now Pienaar. Mark Halsey has to get out of the way. In it goes from Pienaar to Morales, and now a touch from Osman. Pienaar linking the play nicely here for Everton. And Osman just couldn't quite control that. Just couldn't get the stretch to control that. But it was another very good bit of play from Everton going through midfield with Osman and Pienaar involved. Now Gibson slowing things down a little bit, almost stumbles, and then Gibson into feet for Morales, who very lazily played the ball towards Neville, and Manchester United struggling to clear here. Morales against Rooney. Back again to Neville. Neville infield to Gibson. Now Morales. Morales now on to Neville once more. Neville going to try and cross here. Flag goes up far side. In came the challenge from Rooney, I think.
It is,
way
yes,
over there on the far side. Rooney speaks to the linesman, and the free kick has been given for the foul on Neville. Rooney's protesting to Mark Halsey. But he needs to get now sorted here, because this is a free kick. This is dangerous with 6 minutes left in the first half. David Moyes is just signalling how many players to go forward. And he's saying to Jagielka, you go in there as well. So Jagielka will get cover from Baines and from Gibson. Free kick to Everton, approaching half-time, trailing 1-0. Jagielka late run into the 6-yard area. Free kick wide on the right for Everton. Fellaini's trying to lose Jones here. And Ichibi's inside the 6-yard area. Manchester United fans a little anxious here. In comes the free kick for Everton. Big high one towards Fellaini. Fellaini's header punched away by De Gea. He actually got pretty good distance on that punch, did De Gea, having elected to not catch the ball. But it's Gibson of Everton once more. Down the centre towards Anichebe. Out comes De Gea. Not such a great punch. And then Osman had to hit it quickly. Hit it wide. And I don't think De Gea really was on top of that situation.
Not at all. I mean, his first punch clear was excellent. It was there. He got distance. He got it up in the air. But he was never going to do that. His decision to come for that one. And it was almost chest high when he attempted to punch it as well. He made a poor decision there and was fortunate to get away with it.
I think that's been the thing with De Gea. I think we've quite marvelled at some of his reflex saves, but it's the decision making sometimes from the crosses.
I would agree with that.
Yeah. And now Everton again until Cleverley breaks them up in midfield. Not too much flow from Manchester United, but now Van Persie looking for Rooney. Jagielka could be struggling here against Rooney. Rooney's ball in behind Van Persie. Valencia gets it. Giggs is there on the edge of the area. Now Raphael joins in, and his ball in is too short, and it's easily cleared by the Everton captain Philip Neville. Quick response from Manchester United. Final ball let them down. Out comes Mike Phelan, Sir Alex Ferguson's right-hand man. Raphael got the better of Fellaini there. But Everton will clear, but it's charged down by Raphael. Edge of the penalty area. Raphael to... Oh, Van Persie's offside. Wrong decision by Raphael. Going right instead of left. Free kick to Everton.
It just shows you there, with Everton having the majority of the game over the last 10 minutes or so and looking threatening, and you're thinking about Manchester United, but suddenly they're capable of putting a movement together and threatening your goal. And that's exactly what happened there. In an ideal world here, Sir Alex Ferguson would like to be in a 2 or 3 goal lead and then to be able to take 3 of his big players off. But at the moment, that's not going to happen in this game. If any Manchester City fans are listening, this is going to be an awkward game for Manchester United to get the 3 points from. They are leading, but Everton are playing well. Free kick given against Cleverley. I mean, that would be the absolute perfection, wouldn't it, for Sir Alex today? Yes.
If, say, with half an hour to go, they were 3-0 up and he could take off maybe Van Persie and Rooney.
I'm sure that's what he would want to do.
Free kick to Everton, moving towards half-time. 1-0. They trail, which is slightly against the run of play here over the 45 minutes. Manchester United have had to do more defending than Everton. That one moment when Giggs scored, when Heitinger was exposed, and now free kick to Manchester United. And David Moyes comes out once more, but will be moderately pleased, I think, with the way his team's playing. They just need to find a cutting edge here.
Yes. I mean, they haven't been easy. They're not easy in any game. It's very rare to see an Everton team which is easy to play against under David Moyes' managership. That's not the case.
And they're not an orthodox side to line up against. I mean, Fellaini in particular makes it like that. He's such an unusual player, Fellaini. And now Valencia, who hasn't had much of a first half, but that's a good ball from him to Cleverley. Cleverley's ball in, volleyed away by Phil Jagielka. Back to Valencia once more. Struggling to control it on this poor surface here at Old Trafford, which doesn't do the Manchester United team any favours, really. Cleverley again now. Everton have got the blue shirts back now. It's very tight for Manchester United on this right-hand side. They look to release Raphael. Van Persie's waiting with Rooney. In comes a cross from Raphael. Rooney is beaten in the air. Comes out to Ryan Giggs. Giggs didn't control it, but a nice turn now from Evra. Early ball in straight into the arms of Howard.
A little bit of pressure from Manchester United there. Not able to create a goal-scoring opportunity.
1 minute left in the first half. Mourinho, now, either he's gone for a cup of tea for half-time or he's going home, but anyway, he's disappeared from the director's box, where he's sitting, of course, in the visitors' part of the director's box, but I'm sure in a few years' time would very much like to feel he was part of a home scene here. Now, that's a good ball down. Oh, Van Persie couldn't have been much in that. He's given offside by the linesman here. That must have been very close.
It was very close, but he's right in line with the linesman there. and gave the decision straight away.
Pienaar for Everton. They have to be quick now at the end of the first half. Sir Alex we see for the first time now coming out into his technical area. United having to defend with seconds left in the first half. Manchester United lead 1-0. Everton press once more. Pienaar goes down theatrically under the challenge from Raphael. Fourth official will show how much added time there will be, and I'm sure Sir Alex at the moment wants to try and get at his United team at half-time. They haven't really had much fluency in the first half, but now Van Persie is onside and he can go round the goalkeeper Howard and he will score. Yes, for Manchester United right on half-time. Desperate attempt by the Everton defenders to keep the ball out, and although Manchester United, and how typical this is of their season, have not been at their best in the first half against a very good Everton team, they find themselves 2-0 up.
Everton tried to play offside. I think Phil Neville, the right back at the end, played him on, and that's it. It just gave him a run through, Van Persie the run through, and when Van Persie is running through one-on-one on a goalkeeper, it's very, very rare that he doesn't score, and he didn't this time. Took it comfortably. 2-0 Manchester United.
And seconds before he had been flagged fractionally offside. Everton didn't learn from that. Van Persie goes through and scores his 19th Premier League goal of the season, just 2 in front of Luis Suarez now, although of course Suarez is playing tomorrow and has an opportunity to close the gap for Liverpool against West Bromwich Albion. That's a killer goal for Everton.
Oh,
Graham.
definitely. It's definitely. For the back four not in tune with one another. I'd love to see that again. Who actually was responsible for bringing them up, holding the line, or what? Because it left Phil Neville actually on his own, just playing him onside.
1-0 down at half-time. They feel they have a chance. Can they get something back now, Everton, before half-time? Playing added time at Old Trafford. Injuries just at the moment to sort out here. One aside, there's an injury. Is it just looking to see who that is? Jones? Yes, Jones is back on his feet again. Morales is okay. Well, I hope you've been with us for the whole of the first half, and if you have, you'll have gathered that Everton have had long periods in this first half of possession without creating a great deal. But Manchester United, so many times people have said all season, by their own very high standards, not in top gear, but doing enough all the time.
Winning games, isn't it? I mean, people have had discussions, always will, about Manchester United teams. Is this as good? Is this a great side? Is this and they're talking all of the time about it. At the end of the day, what Manchester United are doing now, they're just winning games.
That's half-time, and Mourinho would have missed that goal because, of course, he left his seat a minute or so before the end of the first half, and I said it in the commentary that the perfection here would be for Alex Ferguson to be, say, 3-0 up with half an hour to go and to make the changes, and I didn't think at the time that was likely. But now 2-0 up at half-time, Graham. Maybe it might occur.
Yes, it could. I mean, we shall see, but it could work out for him. David Moyes walking in there looking very serious. He'll be very disappointed to be going in 2-0 down, particularly with a goal conceded so late and in such a poor way for me. That's not a Moyes side to not have his back four organised.
Well, who would be a manager? Graham knows all about that. You have to feel an element of sympathy for David Moyes because his team competed well in that first half, but they trail here at Old Trafford. The goals came in from Ryan Giggs after 14 minutes, and then right on half-time, the second from Robin Van Persie. So the half-time score here is Manchester United 2, Everton 0.
We're going to concentrate on Old Trafford, where Manchester United continuing their march to the Premier League title. 2-0 up at half-time against Everton. Your commentary team is Mike Ingham, Graham Taylor and Alan Green.
The second half has already kicked off here at Old Trafford, and we did have the feeling at half-time, frankly, that the most significant action has already taken place in the first half. Manchester United, far from being the better team. In fact, they were dominated by Everton for long periods of the first period, but as Ian was saying, they're 2-0 up. An early goal from Giggs after some errant play by Heitinga. I'll mention Heitinga again in a moment. I'll run down the two teams, and then importantly, just before half-time, Van Persie scoring a second goal, a 2-goal gap. I wonder if Sir Alex is already thinking about making some personnel changes in the second period, taking off some of his key players in anticipation of this game against Real Madrid on Wednesday night that you'll also hear on 5 Live. I'll be flying to Madrid, and Mourinho is at Old Trafford. He disappeared just before half-time. We thought, was he making an early rush for the bus? But no, he had a cup of tea, and he's back. And the two starting 11s, Manchester United much stronger than anticipated, as Van Persie gets onto the end of a long ball played forward, but he can't keep it from going behind the goal line. It's going to be a goal kick to Everton. Sir Alex Ferguson clearly implied that he'd be fielding almost two entirely different teams. One for this game, one for Madrid. Porkies. Manchester United have picked a very strong 11 here, and I'll be surprised if at least 8 of them don't appear against Real. The goalkeeper is De Gea. The defence is Rafael, Vidic, Evans and Evra. Then in midfield, Valencia, Jones, Cleverley and Giggs. Finally, Rooney and Van Persie. Everton had intended to make just one change to their starting 11, bringing in Neville for Heitinga, but unfortunately in the build-up to the game, Distant suffered some illness, so Heitinga plays after all, and Heitinga, Graham Taylor, was at fault.
He was, yes.
Mainly for the first United goal.
Yeah, he was, and he's not had the best of seasons. I was saying before the game started, he's not had the best of seasons for Everton this year, and finally he's lost his place, but then gets himself back in and he makes a mistake for the first goal.
Everton's goalkeeper is Hard. Their defence is Neville, Jagielka, Heitinga and Baines. Then in midfield, Morales, Gibson, Osman and Pinar, and finally Fellaini and Anichebe. Fellaini has been his usual pest, though he's being man-marked by Phil Jones for Manchester United. Here's Morales for Everton. Everton have to score early in the second half, really, to get any momentum going after suffering that second goal by Van Persie just before the half-time whistle. But remember, they did come from 2 goals down with just 7 minutes left for play last April to get a 4-4 draw here that Sir Alex Ferguson thinks was pivotal in terms of the title going to Manchester City and not Manchester United. Tim Hard, the former United goalkeeper, is in the Everton penalty area, way to our left in front of the Stretford end. His team all in blue, Manchester United red shirts, white shorts, black socks, attacking the Stretford end in this second period. It's now with Heitinga. Heitinga to Jagielka. Jagielka on to Gibson in the centre circle. Another former United player. There are 3 ex-United players in this Everton lineup. Heitinga once more to Jagielka. And Jagielka drifts the ball towards the right side, towards Phil Neville. Well intercepted by Vidic. Vidic back in the starting 11 today. Finds Rooney onto Evra. Evra to Van Persie, whose goal makes it 23 for the season so far. What a fantastic return. Van Persie again, centre of the Everton half, running forward, slipped the ball to the right to Cleverley. Cleverley half thought about shooting from about 25 yards, changed his mind, finds Valencia. Valencia into Cleverley, a couple of yards outside the Everton penalty area, and now Rooney just towards the edge of the tee, flicks it to the right. Valencia on now to Rafael. Rafael tackled and the ball breaks out of play. It'll be a throw in to Manchester United. Perhaps of this starting 11 you might think that Rafael and Evans might struggle to hold their places from Madrid, perhaps Giggs as well. Ferdinand hasn't figured it all today on the bench or in the starting 11, but I'm sure he will play alongside Vidic against Real. The throw for Manchester United is only half a dozen yards from the corner flag, the far side of the field, their right. 5 minutes gone in the second half. Manchester United 2, Everton 0. Jelavic is amongst those available to David Moyes on the bench. United take the throw and give it to Jones. Jones squanders the cross, belts it behind, high and behind for a goal kick to Everton. I see Nani warming up. You would think he would come on.
Yeah.
Unlikely to start in Madrid, Nani.
Yes. But certainly if this score remains, and certainly if Manchester United get another one, the substitutions will definitely be made.
Here's Giggs, scorer of the first goal. On to Rooney. Rooney miscontrolled it initially, but finally brought it under control and keeps it with Manchester United. Here's Vidic. Great to see Vidic back in the centre of defence. He is a man who will be required against Real Madrid in the Bernabeu on Wednesday night. Now Rafael, right side, hits it long. Valencia chases after it. One bounce and it runs through to Tim Hard. Welcome to our listeners again on World Service who were following our coverage on 5 Live Sports Extra during the first half. No change in the half-time scoreline. It's still Manchester United 2, Everton 0, 6.5 minutes played in the second half here. It's a very cold late afternoon. It was raining earlier, and there's a threat of some snow for the northwest this evening. Baines fouled by Valencia as Valencia made the challenge to try to win the ball. So it's a free kick to Everton. Baines clutching the back of his neck at the moment. That hurt.
Neither side yet got hold of the game, got in control of the game in the second half. It's not really, you'd almost say it's not started yet.
The free kick's been taken. Heitinga back to Tim Hard, and Hard, dressed all in yellow, clatters the clearance towards the right side. Headed away by Evra, out of play, and it's going to be taken by Phil Neville, the throw-in. Some conversation with David Moyes before he takes the throw-in. He's also stolen half a dozen yards. Throws the ball to Pinar. Pinar held off Raphael, but not Giggs. And now it's Rooney. Rooney went in aggressively on Neville. Neville won it though. And now it's back with Gibson. Gibson running towards this near touchline. That's the Everton right in the second half. Forward to Neville, the skipper. Neville's cross a little bit too close to De Gea and too high anyway. It's gone behind for a goal kick.
What I will say there, Alan, and it was mentioned earlier about the state of the pitch, he got a terrible bobble there, did Neville, before he crossed, and yet out it went. And when you look at the pitch, it is one of the poorer ones in the Premier League.
Yeah, it's dreadful. And it doesn't, this doesn't suit Manchester United.
It doesn't, no.
I don't know what you can do, because it's a very high-sided stadium, Graham. I'm sure that's the cause of the problem.
They will have tried everything.
Well, and each of he's tying his bootlaces at the moment, and there seems to be some hold-up in play. I don't quite understand why. Finally, Mark holds it. Surely De Gea wasn't waiting for
Jones
to tie his bootlaces.
Jones got a knock.
Well, Jones got a knock before half-time, and he hobbled off. And actually, watching Phil Jones now, he's running quite awkwardly. I would have thought that Sir Alex would want Jones to play on Wednesday night. He may not have that option soon.
He's certainly limping. Keep my eye on him.
He's hard with the clearance. Jones does look very unhappy at the moment. And yes, Smalling is out amongst the Manchester United substitutes, limbering up. Evra with a throw-in for United to Cleverly. Back to Evra. He's midway inside the Everton half. Taps it to Rooney. Cleverly once more. 9 minutes gone since half-time. Not a lot has happened. Still Manchester United 2. Everton 0. Van Persie's goal, it just punctured any hopes of revival for Everton, or it seems to have. Valencia on the far side of the field, Manchester United right. The game largely at walking pace at the moment. Back to Raphael, and Jelavic is going to come on for Everton. David Moyes gave it 10 minutes to see if anything bright would happen, and it hasn't. So Jelavic, will he replace Anichebe, or will someone have to come off from midfield? Morales perhaps might make way.
It'll be interesting just to see. I think it will be for Anichebe, who is down. He's crouched down at the moment, isn't he?
Yeah, I thought initially he was just tying the bootlace. Maybe he's got an injury problem as well.
Yes.
He's crouching, Anichebe. So Jelavic for Anichebe is now the likely substitution. Well, it's been a very untidy 10 minutes.
It has, Alan, yeah.
Nothing of significance
nothing
has
to
happened.
comment on, nothing to pass on. It's been quite disappointing so far.
Gibson for Everton. And each of these just sort of bent over here. I don't know why he just doesn't come off, frankly. He's now gone down. And, of course, Everton will they just replace him immediately? Or will they give attention to Anichebe?
And also
Raphael.
Is Raphael or Jones limping off?
Well, I don't know. Raphael's coming to the near touchline. It's as if the game finished at half-time, and they're just going through the motions. Well, I tell you what, Raphael's had a knock on his back or something like that.
Jones is coming off, I think.
Jones is coming off. Carrick's replacing him. You can see Michael Carrick, of course, playing against Real Madrid. But I would have thought the hope was that Jones would be in there as well, probably at right back, and maybe he won't now. And still Jelavic waits to come on, and he will be replacing Nicheby after all that. So 11 minutes gone in the second half, and the only things that have happened of note have been a couple of injuries and a couple of substitutions.
Yeah, the second half's not even started really in football terms.
Yeah. You're listening to 5 live in the World Service on the BBC. Manchester United lead Everton by 2-0, and provided they win, they'll be a massive 12 points ahead of Manchester City, who were utterly feeble last night in losing at Southampton.
Yeah. That was a surprise. Credit Southampton. Everybody's
they played
talking
really well.
Yeah, everybody's talking about Manchester City. They were poor, but Southampton were good, and they moved the ball about very well. They were lively, and they really get that first win for them under the new manager. So they'll be very confident. Gone out of the relegation area.
Aston Villa, by the way, are out of the relegation bottom 3 after their win against West Ham United, 2-1. Manchester United take a free kick too quickly for Mark Holsey's liking, and so you'll bring the ball back to the halfway line when it was a very promising Manchester United attack. He says the ball was moving.
He was quite right. It was a moving ball, not taken in the right position really neither anyhow.
It is a free kick to Manchester United, a foot over the halfway line to the right of the centre circle. Johnny Evans will take it, and Evans just chips it forward towards Valencia. There was a hack away by an Everton defender, but a ball falls to Giggs. Giggs' shot wasn't particularly powerfully hits a defender, rebounds to Rooney. Rooney adjusts to a foul-filled level, and it's a free kick awarded by Mark Holsey to Everton.
Looked a harsh decision, but the only way you can tell it is if you're looking from the referee's viewpoint, and just looking at it.
There was a little barge by Rooney on Neville.
Yeah.
I tell you what, it wasn't as significant a barge on Neville as the one on the Southampton player just before half-time last night. Certainly should have been a penalty kick. Southampton didn't need it. They won 3-1. Manchester United lead Everton by 2-0 here. Arguably the trickiest game in terms of the run-in, certainly until the Manchester derby in April. Neville with a throw-in for Everton, just short of the halfway line. He throws it only to Evra, but Evra plays it back to Neville, and Neville gets it a third time off another United player. Gibson to Jagielka. Jagielka just a few yards from David Moyes, clips it in the direction of Fellaini, headed away by Manchester United's Vidic. Carrick, the substitute, clears it to Van Persie, score the second goal, hooks it on to the first goal scorer, Giggs. Giggs into Van Persie again. Nice touch for the Dutchman, back to Evra. Giggs, Evra once more. Rooney available down the left side. This is good football from Manchester United. Not such a great pass from Wayne Rooney, and it's cleared by Jagielka out for a throw-in.
And there's some very intricate movements there, passing very small passing area, and they did well to maintain possession of the ball, and ultimately they get their throw-in.
15 minutes played in the second half. Manchester United 2, Everton 0. The lines are open for 606, by the way, which I'll be presenting from Old Trafford at the conclusion of this commentary. 0500 909 693 is the number to call. Is the title virtually over? 12 points clear, 12 games to go? Who knows? How important was that win for Aston Villa today? Valencia on the attack for Manchester United. Tries to get the cross in. Hits an Everton defender to Valencia again. Flicks it in the direction of United colleague. And then what's the decision here? By Mark Holsey.
Yeah, it was Raphael put his foot high as the Everton player was attempting to head it. Raphael came with a very high foot, and I think that's a correct decision.
Though not appreciated by the Manchester United supporters amongst the 75,000 crowd. Old Trafford is packed, but it's also cold, and it hasn't been a great game. I mean, so much of it mirrors Manchester United's season. They're winning the match, they're collecting the points, and yet they haven't played that well. Morales for Everton, back to Osman, who's almost standing on the centre spot. Osman now running to the right of the centre circle, feeds it to the captain Neville. Neville on towards Morales. It was rather a telegraph pass. Evra intercepted, played it off the Belgian, and it's out for a Manchester United throw-in.
It's amazing really, because they're on course, Manchester United, for record points and everything if they do that, and yet you're quite right what you say. They don't seem to have had to play magnificently to get into that position. So does that open up conversation about the level of play in the Premier League now? I don't know.
Here's Baines on the far side of the field for Everton. In to Pinar. Pinar back to Jagielka. Everyone bar hard is inside the United half. High cross in towards Fellaini. Fellaini, well, he didn't make the best of the opportunity. He only heads it behind for a goal kick. Interestingly, Jones, who's come off, was man marking Fellaini all the time he was on the pitch.
Thank you for your support.
Goal kick to be taken by De Gea, who flattened a couple of crosses played into his penalty area in the first half, but has had nothing to deal with in the 17 minutes since the interval.
Well, Manchester United have gone into position with Carrick holding central midfield. On his right-hand side is Cleverley, on his left-hand side is Giggs, and then they have Valencia, Van Persie and Rooney a little bit wide on the left as their front three.
Throw it on the far side of the field to Everton. Baines to take it eventually, 10 yards short of the halfway line. Baines still waits. Now he throws it to Fellaini. Fellaini holds off the challenge, being forced to run back into his own half though. Fellaini under pressure from Carrick, and then he turns and he smashes the ball against Valencia, and it's out of play for a throw-in. But there, in that movement, Everton have conceded about 40 yards.
They have, and you saw Manchester United pressing them, working them, out of possession this time. The one thing about Manchester United I think that they've really improved upon is when they're out of possession, how they really work.
Here's Neville, former United player, of course, in to another of them, Gibson. On now to Pinar. Pinar turns away from Carrick, but his pass is inaccurate. It's intercepted by Vidic. On to Cleverley towards Valencia in the far side of the field, who gets past Baines when he had no right to. Valencia rushes forward. Van Persie's inside the penalty. The cross is behind the Dutchman, I think aimed at Rooney. Partially cleared by Everton. Picked up by Valencia on the far side of the field again. Into Cleverley. A couple of yards outside the penalty area to Rafael. Rafael has Valencia nearby and is played to Valencia. Now Cleverley again. Valencia once more. Good ball back to Carrick. Carrick feeds it on towards Van Persie. It was Jagielka who stepped forward, made the interception, and now it's with Jelavic. Jelavic still inside his own half though. Back to Pinar. Nearly 19 minutes gone since half time. Manchester United 2, Everton 0. Osman to Jagielka and Gibson to the right of the centre circle. Jelavic is very deep. Fellaini's pushing as far forward as he can. Everton badly need to score. It's with Gibson. Gibson chips the ball in the direction of Jelavic, and it's headed away once more by Manchester United. Scoreline come in from the Super League. Castleford 14, Leeds 12. That's a final score. This is not quite final yet at Old Trafford, but Manchester United look fairly secure because even though Everton have had a lot of possession, Graham Taylor, particularly in the first half, they have not threatened goal.
No, they didn't get the shots in. It's all right having all that possession, but if you've got no end product to it, it counts for nothing.
Here's Rooney, and Rooney just drifts the ball to the right side to Valencia. A yard in from the right touchline. Valencia skips in field. Plays it in the direction of Rooney, intercepted by Everton, given back to Valencia, balls inside the Everton penalty area, where it's a screwed clearance by Jagielka, so screwed it spins behind for a corner. 20 minutes gone in the second period, 2-0 to Manchester United, and now they've got a corner at the Stretford end of Old Trafford, and great applause for Van Persie, who's gone across to take it. It will be from the right, he'll play it in left-footed, and Everton have got everybody back, either inside or just on the edge of their penalty area. Van Persie waits. And perhaps he wants Valencia to run towards him and take the corner short. No, he's waiting for Mark Holsey to make up his mind that everything's all right inside the penalty area. The usual pushing and shoving. Van Persie finally, left-footed, in towards the near post, headed on! Oh, great save with the line by Hart, is still around the penalty. Oh, goodness gracious, hard out that Everton keep that out. I think that was cleared twice off the line.
It looked like it, and how you could commentate on that was unbelievable.
I couldn't actually, that's the answer.
Yeah, it was incredible there. It's in, no it's not, it's in, no it's not. Yes, it
twice
is, no it isn't.
Save. Yeah. And so did Jelavic.
Incredible that.
Evans very close to making it 3-0 to Manchester United, at which point Fergie would make other changes. Van Persie's corner again. Straight under the head of Heidegger. Great shot! Fully driven in by Cleverly. Excellent save by Hard.
Well, he's actually claiming to the assistant referee that he didn't get a touch. If I was a goalkeeper, I would be claiming, yes, I'd give you the corner.
I think he got a touch in that.
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
That was a good save by Hard.
Good save, wasn't it? Yes.
Pressure from Manchester United. Looking for this third killing goal. Van Persie's corner again. Good catch by Hard. Brilliant volley by Cleverly.
Oh, excellent. Excellent.
Reminder of the telephone number for 606 0500 909 693. I'll be chatting to callers between 6 o'clock and 7 o'clock tonight here on 5 Live. 22 minutes gone in the second half. Evans stretched, didn't quite clear. Ball falls to Morales. Morales running forward to the goal line, pulls it back. Oh goodness, Vidic was facing his own goal there. Thought about doing Gareth Barry, and then he thought, no, I can't be doing anything as stupid as that. And it's cleared properly by United. Have you ever seen an own goal as bad as that?
No. Did I score any own goals?
We're halfway through the second half. Time for a change of commentator. It's Mike Ingham.
And time for a change from Everton. They're going to make a change in a moment. We'll tell you about that in a moment. And now Fellaini. I think we made a point in the first half when we were commentating on 5 Live Sports Extra. First of all, Baines for Everton. Jelavic has made the run into the area, looking for Osman, and Manchester United concede the corner. We made the point in the commentary, Graham, that when Everton had their very best spell, David Moyes would have been frustrated that there was nothing to show for it.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Stephen Naismith will come on, but he won't come on just at the moment. While Everton prepare, and Everton, you feel if they're to get back into this game in the way they did here last season, must get something soon. Jelavic, of course, who's come on, scored 2 goals in that 4-4 last season. But the goals which really mattered in the end came from Fellaini and Pienaar. So Leighton Baines raises his arm, corner kick to Everton, away to the right-hand side, looking for Fellaini, header not very strong from Everton, and Johnny Evans watches that go behind for a goal kick. Now David Moyes will make his change here, and he'll bring on Naismith, and I think Morales might be the player coming on. On 5 Live and BBC World Service, it's Manchester United 2, Everton 0. Ryan Giggs scored in the first half, and then Van Persie on half-time. And the significance about Giggs' goal is that it means incredibly now that he has managed to score a league goal in every single season of the Premier League, and also 2 seasons even before that, before the Premier League was up and running. This is his first Premier League goal of this particular season. So Manchester United at the moment are looking comfortable. Jose Mourinho watching on, and with Alan mentioning, and rightly so, that United are going to go 12 points clear. What does that say about the Premier League this season? Well, I think the big barometer is coming on Wednesday. I think Manchester United playing Real Madrid on Wednesday night, that will show us really the strength of this Manchester United team and the strength of the Premier League. Rooney manages to squirt the ball in field to Cleverly, and Carrick now, that's not accurately played by him, just for once to Giggs, and it's going to be an Everton throw. So Naismith's going to play. Let's just see where Osman at the moment is taking up a position on the right. We've got Pienaar on the left, and Naismith's going to go down the centre behind Jelavic, and he's chasing the ball now. Cross comes Johnny Evans. Evans smoothly in for Manchester United, leading here 2-0. Now on the edge of the area, it's played by Carrick to Cleverly. Cleverly played it quickly, trying to release Valencia over on the far side, and the ball comes back to Tim Howe. The other interesting thing, by the way, just before Manchester United scored the second goal, which looks to put the game beyond Everton here, Sir Alex Ferguson came out for the first time into the technical area. He wasn't that happy with the way his team at that particular time were playing. But then that second goal came right on half-time from Van Persie, and it just seems to have knocked a lot of the heart out of the Everton team. Vidic, who's the captain today, ever available. Manchester United on this poor surface, which really saps the energy as well. Vidic, they're playing from right to left towards the Stretford end, and Jose Mourinho will know, by the way, that that's the way Manchester United like to play, and I'm sure if Real Madrid win the toss when they come here, he'll make them do it differently. Rafael now runs well and finds Giggs on the edge of the area. Jinking run from Giggs, looking to win a corner kick, and he's got it. And the way things are going at the moment, if there's the next goal, it will come from the home side.
Yeah. Everton don't seem to have that fight and that desire in them that they did have for the greater part of the first half. That second goal right on the stroke of half-time has really seemed to get at them.
Corner kick as ever to be taken by Van Persie over on the far side, the Manchester United right. They've sent Evans and Evra forward, but that's an easy catch for Tim Howe. The other thing, of course, is the goal difference as well, which is worth an extra point at the moment because United's is 31 and City's is 24. So there's a difference of 7, and at the moment it's going to be a points difference of 12 with 12 to play. Unless Everton can do something here. Osman's ball, Jelavic has run offside, and Jelavic's shot in the end saved by De Gea. Hasn't quite picked up this season, Jelavic, from where he left off last season.
No, he hasn't. I'm just watching him there, and I'm just so surprised. You know, he must know that he's offside running like that. You know, you've got to hold your run, particularly when you can see across the line yourself. He's even looking at the linesman who immediately raised his flag.
Earlier today in the international rugby, a victory for England, 12-6 against Ireland, and in the Premier League, Aston Villa beat West Ham 2-1. Naismith now, the Everton substitute, finding Baines. Time starting to run out for Everton. Only lost 3 times before today. Raphael tackles well over on the far side, and he may well be needed now because of the injury to Jones in that right back position. That might have made up Sir Alex Ferguson's mind here with the injury to Jones. Now Van Persie's left-footed ball, lovely running from Rooney. Jagielka doesn't cut it out. Rooney's just been forced wide. May need some support here. Rooney and Jagielka recovered well and dug the ball out of the penalty area. And Everton now looking to Jagielka once more with a big long ball towards Jelavic, out of play for a Manchester United throw-in. Jagielka hasn't always been helped today by Heitinga, who's looked very slow on the turn at times. Jagielka looking pretty comfortable though in that central position, having played recently at right back. Phil Neville urging his Everton team forward. But Manchester United ever dangerous on the break when they cross the halfway line. It's Raphael for Manchester United, looking for Van Persie. Van Persie, twinkling skills around the boggy surface, knocks it back to Raphael. 2-0 to Manchester United. Giggs and Van Persie in the first half. United on the halfway line. Van Persie to Cleverley. Now Valencia. And Valencia finds Carrick, who's come on for the injured Jones, who went straight to the dressing rooms. Now Patrice Evra near side. David Moyes still standing down there in the technical area, trying to encourage and inspire his side. The ball is with United, and Everton are chasing. Raphael back to Evans, who's had a composed game today alongside Vidic. But Ferdinand surely, if fit, will come back on Wednesday in the Champions League, a game you'll hear the whole of from Alan Green in Spain on Wednesday night. Now, Evans on to Cleverley, a player that Mourinho won't have seen too many times, of course. Cleverley. Raphael, Manchester United looking very, very comfortable. And this, remember, at 4 o'clock was a very difficult fixture on paper. Carrick now, that's overhit from Carrick, and that will run through to Howard once more.
Yeah, Manchester United dominating. When they're getting the ball, they're keeping possession of it, they're moving Everton about, and I have to say that 1 or 2 of the Everton players look dispirited to me. Well, they ought to draw some encouragement from the fact that they look a well-beaten side here in April in that game which really turned the whole title race on its head when they came back to draw with those 2 late goals, 4-4. Sir Alex Ferguson said that must never happen again. Well, that couldn't be clearer from the manager. United seem to have this game under control, and we've just over 15 minutes left. Everton looking for some kind of inspiration here. Naismith to Osman, right in the centre of midfield. Everton need perhaps some width over on the left-hand side. Fellaini, who's been much less involved in this second half. Remember, he did pull out of the Belgium team in midweek with an injury. Fellaini's looking to play a 1-2 with Pienaar. Cleverley's back, working well for Manchester United. Raphael clears, not very well. Straight back to Gibson, just inside the Manchester United half. Not a lot of sign at the moment, though, that Everton are going to open up Manchester United. Naismith linking with Osman. That's good play from Everton. Osman's ball went into the back of Evans, and Valencia in the right-back position is closed down by Baines. Bit slow to react down that far side for Manchester United. Everton's Pienaar looking for Fellaini. Takes the ball into the penalty area. Raphael's there to clear. Little bit better now from Everton. As United struggle to clear. Gibson plays the ball in straight onto the head of Vidic. Rooney's back defending. Manchester United will look now to Rooney to try and get them moving on the counter. It's into Giggs, but he's easily tackled by Pienaar. Groans from the home fans. Everton suddenly revived, but trail 2-0. Need to score quickly. Neville in front of us, right-hand side. Little ball into Pienaar. Back again to Neville, who holds off the challenge from Rooney.
comes out to Gibson, who might have thought about the shot, instead plays it square to Baines. It's all a little bit slow from Everton. All the United players are back inside their own half, defending this 2-0 lead. Neville again now. Philip Neville, the Everton captain. Left-footed ball in. Osman turning away inside the penalty area. Osman's ball, which De Gea just grabs under the bar.
Yes, he didn't mean that. It could have caught De Gea out, but it didn't. It was a mishit cross, really, there. De Gea catches it under the bar, but Everton's, that's better. That's better for
it's probably their most sustained period of pressure in this second half, I think, but nothing again at the end of it. 2-0 to Manchester United, Giggs and Van Persie. Don't forget 606 follows with Alan Green, 0500 909 693. And I'm sure Manchester City fans may want to have a few words about their lamentable performance last night at Southampton. Van Persie for Manchester United. 2-0 they lead. Into Rooney. Rooney gets away from Philip Neville. Good strong play from Rooney. Works it down the right-hand side to Raphael. That's a terrible ball from him. As soon as it left his right foot, screws it into the crowd. And that's a goal kick. And the thing is, Graham, that, with 12 games to go, and we know from last season anything can happen. I think the reason a lot of people, the neutrals, are thinking this title race could be all over is because of the lack of heart shown by City last night.
Definitely. I mean, I think that was the biggest criticism that should go their way as well. It wasn't a question, everybody can perform badly or not as well as they should. But in fact, to give that impression that there wasn't the spirit there, the desire, which is what City gave us all yesterday, is out of order.
I've just been alerted that Evans may have an injury problem, but so we'll watch him for the next few minutes as Everton build through Osman. Osman now trying to stretch Manchester United down this near side with Philip Neville. Rooney's back doing his defensive work, and he does well against Neville. Sends Neville crashing to the ground, and that'll be Everton's ball near side. Johnny Evans, we just look at him at the moment. He's just crouching, having a bit of a breather alongside Vidic. So they've lost Jones with an injury today. Smalling is on the bench. He would come on if Evans can't finish this game. Throw to Everton, trailing 2-0. 5 Live and BBC World Service. Into Fellaini. Now Osman. The United fans who've been quite quiet in the second half, standing now and cheering their team through. Everton building. Gibson, they're on the verge of a 12-point lead with 12 games to go here. Baines, left-hand side. And Pienaar. Everton are passing it around without much forward progression here. Indeed, they've gone back now to Gibson. Gibson rolls the ball across the field to Osman. Osman's probably the pick of the Everton players at the moment. Very lively. Drifted in from Jagielka. Out comes De Gea. And it's an easy save for the Spanish goalkeeper.
Typical, I'm afraid, of most of Everton's play in this game. A lot of possession, a lot of movement, no end product. Final ball poor.
Mourinho's still here. I'm sure he'll try and get away soon. Here, watching, making notes, I'm sure. His team won 4-1 yesterday. The Ronaldo show, another hat-trick from him. And now Gibson for Everton. 2-0 they trail. This time he gives it plenty of height and length. Naismith will chase over on the far side and keep it in. Well, that was a good challenge from Evans. Nothing wrong with that physically. Everton, though, a nice release, sends Baines forward down the left-hand side. Much better from Everton, belatedly in the second half. A long run from Baines. Header away by Michael Carrick. Raphael completes the clearance. Smalling is coming on in a moment, so maybe Evans does have the problem that we suspected. Gibson's ball, interesting ball into Osman. Osman turning well here. It's causing a few problems at the moment, Osman. Turning there with Evra. Out comes De Gea, and the next time the ball goes out of play, I think Smalling for Evans in the heart of that Manchester United defence.
Certainly would look that way. He's limping, isn't he? Quite badly, Evans.
Well, he's given great service this season for Manchester United in the absence of Vidic in particular. Now it's Van Persie over the shoulder. Giggs will move on to it. Has a long way to go. Steadies himself. Looks to see where Van Persie is. And Van Persie slid it wide. So here comes the change. Alex Ferguson's coming out just to sort things out here. It is Evans surely coming. Everett's coming to this near side. So Evans comes off. Smalling comes on. The other player injured today for Manchester United, Phil Jones, just can't get his United career going.
No, he can't.
He keeps getting injuries. Alex Ferguson's shaking his fist down there. Obviously can't get across the message that he wants to get across for some reason. Smalling to partner Vidic in the heart of the defence. He's still standing down there, not happy with something.
It's interesting, isn't it, when a manager comes to the touchline like Sir Alex was barking out orders, the players tend to drift to the other side of the pitch so they can't hear him.
What's he doing? He's signalling to somebody. Is it Giggs? Giggs. He wants something about Giggs' position that he wants to correct.
Yeah, I think he's wanting him to sit in the middle of the
Yeah, look, Rooney's playing on the left at the moment, and Giggs down the centre, cleverly to the right. And now looked like a handball from Jelavic, but he's going forward, Jelavic. Danger for Manchester United. Saved by De Gea. Still needs clearing by Evra, and Evra will clear it for Manchester United. Suddenly Everton explode, and maybe Sir Alex Ferguson will not be pleased in the way that Everton are coming back into the game, but they have left it very late here. And Sir Alex now is still standing down there in the technical area, talking to Cleverley, trying to see his team. He said, remember, it will not happen again. They will not lose a 2-goal lead in the way they did last season. So he's down there trying to see them over the line as Everton dink a ball into the far post, and it's headed behind by Manchester United for a corner over on the far side. So there's still a bit of work to do here. 9 minutes to go. There's an injury now to Evra down this near side. Out comes the trainer. So an injury to Jones and Evans, and now Evra's got a problem. Mark Halsey stops his watch. Everton have a corner kick over on the far side. This, of course, I mean, Sir Alex talking about the game being played on a Sunday, 24 hours after Real Madrid have played. The last thing that he wants today is to pick up injuries to big players. Evra's okay. Takes his position inside the penalty area. There's a wrestling match going on between Heitinger and Smalling. In comes a corner kick from Gibson, and that will be smashed away at the near post by Robin van Persie. There's only Valencia downfield, but Cleverley almost moves onto that United, but it's well run back in midfield from Pienaar and Everton. Pienaar to Fellaini. Fellaini closed down immediately by Carrick. 2-0 to Manchester United. Still work to do over the last 10 minutes. Osman, who's really lively at the moment, wins a throw-in off Wayne Rooney.
Well, Everton have come alive, but I think it's going to be too late for them. You should have liked to have seen them playing like this from the start of the second half.
Except we haven't even reached the last 7 minutes yet, and of course that was when Everton got the goals in April, on the day when then Manchester City won at Wolves, and Sir Alex Ferguson said that was the day really when the title race was decided, because of course City in those last 6 games they beat Manchester United, and Manchester United also lost at Wigan. Long ball now from Heitinger. That's very poor from him, with Everton chasing the game. Van Persie a bit slow to react. Eventually fouled by Fellaini. A bit lucky to get that, Van Persie. And Van Persie had Fellaini climbing all over him, and that buys Manchester United a little bit of time. They're just looking a little bit weary at the moment, United. Alex Ferguson isn't moving. He's still standing down there and just trying to get the message across here. He's also warming up Danny Welbeck at the moment, and Nani too. So De Gea takes his time. Alex Ferguson talks to the linesman. 7 minutes to go, and these are the 7 minutes now, of course, which cost Manchester United last season. But then it was a much closer title race. Could be 12 points between them with 12 to go. Ball is inside the Everton half. Naismith wins it. On to Jelavic. Back again to Naismith. Vidic should get this back to his goalkeeper. And he does. Manchester United 2, Everton 0. De Gea in the penalty area. Clears. Well to the far side. Valencia, header on. Nobody there. It'll be picked up by Heitinger, who uses goalkeeper Tim Howard. And Howard now doesn't control it first time at the Stretford end, where of course another bobble off the pitch, which is not great here. That's something I'm sure Mourinho will have noted. Not a good surface at Old Trafford. Long one from Jagielka in hope towards Jelavic. Vidic in the way. Evra's clearance has gone a long way in the air, not very far forward. Manchester United's Rooney now looking to move the ball across the field. Sends Rafael scrambling back, and now Valencia waits for it to come onto him. Glides it forward, but Fellaini's in the way for Everton. Cleverly nicks it back off Fellaini. Cleverly goes down, and that's a yellow card. I think that's the totting up process for Fellaini. I'm sure that Mark Halsey must have spoken to him a moment or two ago and said, persistent stuff, next one's a yellow card, and so it's a yellow card. Hasn't quite been the threat today, Fellaini, has he?
No, he hasn't. No.
In the way that Manchester United, I'm sure in their team talks before the game, would have expected him to be.
Well, certainly Jones, when he was on the pitch, was given the authority to get close to him, stick near to him.
Rooney against Neville. Rooney won it. Van Persie's flick on. Heitinger's there to clear. No nonsense. Out of play. Manchester United settle. No, they don't settle for the throw-in. Evra's kept it in. United just need possession now to see them through. Leading 2-0. Everton have had a better final 5 or 10 minutes without really producing anything at the end of it. Rooney now linking with Giggs. Giggs opened the scoring. Van Persie's second goal put it beyond Everton on half-time as Evra wins a corner kick off Osman. Osman, who's been effective in this second half, popping up on the edge of the penalty area, twisting and turning, trying to create situations. But now Manchester United taking a lot of time. Mourinho's gone, left the box. on his way back to Madrid to prepare for Wednesday night. Rooney preparing to take a corner. They're just wasting time here because Giggs, it's the usual stuff here, trying to get the Everton players back a little further. Mark Halsey wants Neville and Naismith back a little more. Giggs and Rooney will take a short corner. United know what they're about here. This is just trying to wind the clock down. And here it comes, short corner. Following that short corner, Rooney's going back towards his own goal at the moment. Oh, a little ball, handball appeal, not given. Here comes Philip Neville now on the break for Everton. Neville's ball infield. Everton now with Jagielka inside the centre circle. They'll need to get something quickly here. Pienaar, where's Baines? Pienaar has to hold it and then thought about drifting the ball forward. Instead plays it shorter and square to Gibson. Now Neville once more, but all the Manchester United players have got back now as Philip Neville launches the ball into the area. Good header out of defence by Vidic. Van Persie's back on the edge of his own penalty area. This is turning out to be a little harder than it should be, really, for Manchester United. And now it's Giggs on the break, going through the centre, left and right, and now Cleverley. Cleverley Hulls in front of the United substitutes. United doing it very slowly here, just deciding to elect to keep the ball rather than to rush forward, looking for a third. They're just protecting what they have as Carrick finds Valencia far side. Manchester United 2, Everton 0. Closing stages at Old Trafford. In fact, we've got about 2.5 minutes of normal time to go. Manchester United are 2.5 minutes or so away from a 12-point lead. Crowd make the noise once more. Vidic onto the substitute Smalling. The one downside for Manchester United, just 3 days away from Real Madrid. Injuries today to Jones and Evans. They will need Ferdinand back certainly on Wednesday evening. De Gea back inside the Manchester United penalty area. Ball played towards Valencia on the right. Valencia misses it, so too does Baines. Van Persie collects, moves back towards the halfway line. Van Persie plays it all the way back to Carrick just inside the Everton half. United just keeping it and showing their experience. The ball with Cleverley down the right. There's no attempt here. There's no United player in the penalty area. They rather hold it here rather than launch it and lose it. Raphael scrambles the ball back to Smalling, and Smalling sends it to Vidic, and we're into the last 2 minutes of normal time. Looks like this time Manchester United will obey the manager's instruction. A 2-0 lead. There must be no coming back from Everton in the game which was so decisive back in April. Cleverley nearly lost that to Pienaar. Cleverley didn't like the challenge he got from Pienaar, and De Gea clears once more. Header from Manchester United's Raphael goes out of play for an Everton throw.
Yeah, before that happened, Manchester United maintained possession of the ball all the way up into the in and around the Everton penalty area, and then all the way back to their penalty area.
It's very significant, I think, for these last 10-15 minutes. Sir Alex has stayed down there, monitoring, watching, threatening, all those sorts of things, just making sure there's a focus, that nobody starts thinking about Wednesday night. Just all he can think about at the moment is seeing his team over the line here against Everton. We've mentioned this, on paper, one of the hardest games left for Manchester United. They've only dropped 3 points at home all season to Spurs. They've won all the other games, and they look as if they're going to win this one. It's a free kick, though, to Everton. Over on the far side, flicked on by Naismith. De Gea didn't come for it. He's left his defender, Rooney, it was to head it away. And it's a corner to Everton near side, but we only have 20 seconds of normal time to go. We'll try and see if we can see the fourth official. At the moment he's just leading on his board, and Everton have a corner kick, and Baines will take it. And what a scare there would be right now if Everton got a goal from this corner, because we must still have 2 or 3 minutes of added time. In goes the corner kick. Fellaini's beaten in the air though by Vidic. Important challenge. In goes Neville. Surely used his hand, he did. And we've got 3 minutes of added time, and we've just gone into the 3 minutes now. And if Everton were going to come back in this game, you felt that they had to get something there off the corner.
Certainly. And as you say, Sir Alex Ferguson stood in the technical area, been there for the last 15 minutes. I agree with you, Mike. His presence there is saying to the players, listen, it's happened once, never again.
Yeah.
And I think that's the message that he's got out to them.
It's quite intimidating, that presence down there. And they have their off days, Manchester United. They will have through the season, but they would never be allowed to play the way that Manchester City played last night. They might try, but they'd certainly pay for it in terms of team selection and response from their manager. That, for me, this season's the difference Every time Manchester United won a title, Sir Alex Ferguson stared into the players' eyes and demanded that they came back, just like the great Liverpool teams of old, hungry for more next season. And that's where Manchester City have failed so far this particular season. Now Van Persie for Manchester United. 2-0 they lead. Valencia just moving it down the right-hand side. We're in added time here. Cleverley's available. Valencia's just buying time here for his side. 3 Everton players around him. They can't get the ball unless they foul him. Gibson tried to do that, and now it's given away scruffily by Manchester United, but it doesn't matter. It's way back inside the Everton half, and they didn't manage to strike Everton when they had their best spell in the first half, and then that second goal on half-time really deflated them.
Yeah, absolutely right there. It's, they were well in charge of the game, and yet, as I've said earlier, the number of shots they had was minimal.
Just over a minute to go of added time. Manchester United 2, Everton 0 at Old Trafford. Philip Neville now, ball forward. Of course, there's going to be a break in the Premier League next weekend. We've got the FA Cup back with us again. Manchester United playing on the Monday night against Reading. And Everton go to Oldham. Here comes Philip Neville now. Seconds left of added time. 2-0 to Manchester United. They just did enough in the first half to see them through. Their manager, Sir Alex Ferguson, has almost been on the pitch for the last 15 minutes, just demanding complete concentration and no repeat of last season.
Just an unusual movement there for about the 4th time. That's looking at his wristwatch.
Everybody's missed it over on the far side. Raphael, who for me has had a pretty good game at right back today for Manchester United, really applied himself all the way through. Pienaar can be a dangerous opponent. Sir Alex Ferguson's applauding the crowd now, and these would be 3 very big points to take into a Premier League break now for a couple of weeks. He's looked at that watch again, and United have a throw-in over on the far side. 10 seconds to go. 2-0 to Manchester United, boosting the goal difference and making it 12 points between them and City. City, in fact, still might have to scrap for second place with the likes of Everton and Spurs and Arsenal. Clearance by De Gea. That's time here at Old Trafford. Manchester United have gone through a potentially very difficult fixture against Everton. There was no repeat of last season's comeback by Everton when they were 2 goals down, of course, and then completely surprised everyone here in those last 7 minutes. Today, Manchester United make no mistake. They win 2-0 to go 12 points clear. Final word from Graham Taylor.
Well, it's exactly what we said. Probably not the best Manchester United performance, but they win, and that's what they've been doing all season. They've done it again, and they're in a fantastically strong position now to win that Premiership.
And 2 remarkable players. The remarkable Ryan Giggs got the first goal, and the remarkable Robin Van Persie the second. Manchester United 2, Everton 0. The gap at the top is 12 points.
Thank you very much indeed, Mike. Graham, what do you think Jose Mourinho would have particularly looked at today?
Well, I'm not so certain that he's looked at anything specific, but I do believe that it's a sign of his professionalism that he comes over here and sees the game himself, sees his opposition live, because he will know that any team that Manchester United put out under Sir Alex Ferguson will be a threat, and he will want to negate that threat if he sees one. So I can't tell you what he's actually looked at. I would think he's looked at everything, restarts, the lot. But in the main, he has seen the team, and he has not relied upon either watching it on the television or scouts' reports. And I think that shows his professionalism.
Do you imagine it to be a completely different team, or very similar on Wednesday?
I don't think it can be completely different because of who's played today. So there will be some changes, I'm pretty certain of that. But I think at the most it will probably be only 3.
And a word about Everton. They've been on a very good run, but they just never really looked in it today, did they?
No, they didn't. In the first half, I wouldn't say they dominated, but they had more possession. They were going forward more than United, but they didn't end up with any shots. The 2 or 3 that they had were blocked. And, if you're controlling a game, you need to have an end product to it, because you can't rely that you'll be controlling that game for the rest of the 90 minutes. And that's exactly what happened. When they came out in the second half, they never picked up where they had been in the first half. And I'm sure David Moyes will be disappointed.
Thank you very much indeed, Graham. Graham Taylor has been our expert summariser today. So Manchester United in the Premier League, 14 unbeaten. They have a 12-point lead over Manchester City.